How do you make $1 million in 6 months off of Instagram and you're not even a blogger? My guest today is Danielle Leslie, and in less than a year, she has created a business model that is every entrepreneur's dream. Hosting a masterclass for 2 hours once a week, she teaches you how to achieve real success by creating an online course. Newly engaged and living her best life, somehow she has perfected the ideal balance in life of following your dreams and keeping a quality of life that we all strive for. And get this, she only posts twice a month. Hear me again, twice a month. I hope you enjoy this episode and dialogue as much as we enjoyed filming it, even in the Georgia humidity and nature. It's an inside look into her journey and how you too can follow your dream. I fell in love with Danielle's story, and I hope this inspires you to take that leap.
Oh, welcome to the Grace Show, everyone. Hello.
Cheers. First of all, thank you for taking the time.
Of course.
No,
oh my
because you
gosh.
have a crazy schedule. So you were just saying that you're not going to go to San Diego. You're going to go back home.
I was supposed to go to San Diego to meet with one of my mentors. He's amazing, killing it. The kind of guy, you ask him a question, you ask everybody else the same question, and he gives you a completely different answer, and you're like, oh no, you're on a whole other level. And so he's like, come on out, we'll hang out. But girl, I've just been traveling nonstop.
I know.
And usually I'm a homebody. Like,
and
I just be on my computer. Exactly.
Which is amazing.
It was so good. Like 1,200 beautiful black women, all like empowering each other, complimenting each other.
Yeah.
Like, it was amazing.
It was amazing. To bring together so many women. And, our table, I was like, all of these women, or half of them, I know from all different backgrounds.
That was
and, like,
crazy.
Organically,
You already knew them.
Yeah. It was insane.
Wait, how did last time I saw you, you were opening 2 spots that you invested in.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did that go?
Wonderful. So, you know what's funny though? We've talked about this. So like, you grind so hard and you're working like crazy and you're like, you don't even know what you're doing. And then when your work starts to pay off. So it's like, people think it's overnight, and it's been 6 years. Blood, sweat, tears, all that.
Yes.
And then when you finally get to the other side of reaping the benefits of it, so now being an investor, it's like, it's so cool, but in a way it's like I'm missing that like hands-on, the instant gratification.
You're like an individual contributor.
I love the grind. And so it's super dope and it's awesome and it's a privilege to be an investor, but it's kind of like, okay, they don't need me and no one's calling me.
Right.
The stress is gone. But
would you say, because I mean, you told me the story of how you opened your very first spot.
Yeah. Crazy.
And how you're like, listen, y'all, we need to make rent. So this is what we about to do. Yeah. And you're like, we made rent, we did it. Like, do you have, now that you've opened spots, do you have like a signature grand opening formula? Like, no. Are there like best practices?
No,
really?
I say, okay.
Wow.
So they're all different. It's like, well, I mean, I don't have kids and you don't have kids, but I say it's like, because each one, the footprint and the location, the demographic, it's all different. So no two are the same.
Okay.
So they all have a different personality.
Okay.
It's also timing, maturity, and where you are, where you're business savvy, everything. It's such a different experience every time. And I think even if I opened 100 places, it would still be exciting because they're all so unique and independent of one another. Like, never the same.
Okay.
And so it's crazy. But wait, back to your mentor though. How? Because even in San Jose, you talked about your mentors, and you said with an S plural. How many mentors do you have?
2.
Okay.
Yes.
How did you pick them?
Receipts, girl. They got receipts. And they are 10 steps ahead of where I want to be. So I used to find myself working, like maybe like even last year, right? I signed up for a mastermind in January of last year.
Okay.
And I signed up with someone who was only, let's say, a step ahead of me, right? And so as soon as I signed up, I was like the furthest along in it, and even the person leading it wasn't that far ahead of me.
Yeah.
And so what I learned about that was, okay, I need to look for the receipts. And in my industry, it's all about like, okay, revenue, right? Like in my industry, luckily, like they're super transparent. They're like, these are my income reports. This is how many customers we have. This is the price point. So it's pretty easy. Luckily, there's for me to see where they are in their journey. So for me this time, it was, okay, I'm growing so fast. And that was the difference. Last year, it was like, like I was like figuring it out.
Skyrocketed.
And now that I've got the formula, it's working. The growth is crazy.
What do you think is different, like from last year to this year? Because you've totally catapulted your business. And okay, I want you to make me more familiar because I am naive in this whole sensation now. I see masterclass everywhere. And you know, that's kind of, I saw that with like the boom of bloggers. And
right.
I always tell people when I'm talking about you, because I've talked about you a lot, I'm like, she's not a blogger. I'm like, she has this webinar masterclass series, and you've become so successful within a very short period of time. And I mean, you only post twice a month.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't understand. And furthermore, it's like there's so much out there in the internet world, on Instagram, and all these people that are experts. So like, how do you rise to the top of that? Like, what do you think has made it different for you that you're so successful now versus even last year when you said it was kind of like...
Right. You kind of hit on it. So the whole content thing,
yeah.
I think people, like, the common narrative out there is the more content, the better. Like, the formula to becoming big, becoming known, growing your business, growing your brand, connecting with brands is more content. You have to post on Instagram every day. You have to do blog posts all the time. And my philosophy and what's been true for me is the opposite. It's actually, and I got this rule from Derek Halpern, who's like marketer. Yeah, he's been in the game for a minute, but he always says most people spend 80% of their time creating the content, 20% promoting it, but it should be flipped. 20% creating the content, 80% promoting it. Like, you just use your 3 core pillars of content and get in front of way more people. So as soon as I realized that, like another guy I look up to, Brian Harris, I had like a 1-hour call with him and just like, you know, picked his brain. He looked at my business, and the number one thing he said is do more of what's working. Because at the time I was on Instagram, it was doing really well, and I was like, okay, that's cool, but I want to go to LinkedIn. I was like, I know my prospects are on LinkedIn, and he's like, what's working right now? I was like, Instagram. He's like, do more of what's working, and I was like, okay, you're right, Brian. So what that meant for me was, okay, I'm gonna take, and that's, as you said, I only post on Instagram like twice a month.
Yeah, because I was like, how are you like the queen of like this online class, making $1 million, and you only post twice a month? Like, are you kidding me?
And so what
like,
it is
that legal?
Yeah, and so what it is the content. So first of all, I had an offer. That's what made a huge difference, right? So a lot of people focus on more content, bigger list, bigger audience. And for me, it's how do I monetize, right? Like, and so for me, it started with, okay, I know this is going to be a business because I have people I know I can help, right? I know I have something of value. So the first thing I did was create an offer. Like, it was like, okay, I'm going to create this program that can help people, instead of starting with like the audience building.
But help me understand, what is your program? Because I know you talk about monetizing, you know, for experts on social media, whether you're a beauty blogger, whether you're a photographer, whether like whatever you do, makeup, hair, and then you're helping them monetize it as an expert in their industry. But I still don't really understand what that means.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is showing them how, so like you have experience, let's say opening restaurants and bars, right, successfully. So let's just say that's like your thing. So then you would create a program to show me, who is like, I want to do that too. Like, I'm getting ready to open my first restaurant, or I'm trying to save up for it, trying to find investors, trying to do that whole thing. And you would create, so what I help you do is
create my course.
Exactly. Take your expertise, turn it into a program, some kind of methodology, like the 10 steps to doing this. And yeah, create a program that really gets me results as a beginner.
So for you though, last year when you were like, you know, in slower motion, and then this year you've like broken all your numbers and you just hired 2 people, right? 2 new people to the team?
Yeah.
So what changed from last year to this year for you?
Focus.
Okay.
Like, I was like ADD. I was starting a new Tumblr back in the day. Every week when Tumblr was a thing, new domain, new Twitter account. Yeah. And what it was focusing on one product, one funnel. That was it. And so as soon as I focused, and again, it was from that advice, do more of what's working. As soon as I focused and I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And what happened is I did a webinar. So I just did like a live webinar, and I showed people how my course made $25,000 in 1 month from Instagram, even though I don't sell for the gram, I'm all 24/7.
6 figures in 1 month.
Yes. And so I did that masterclass, and it did well. And I was like, okay, let me do it again. let me do it again. So it was just me doing the same thing over and over again. And so now I've done the same webinar every Wednesday live.
Because
for like
when we were talking about that with Steve, he was like, how, it's a lot of work. So Steve was like, how do you have like something new to teach every single week? And you're like, no, I do the same thing,
girl.
which is
Same
crazy.
thing. Yes. And that's why I was just talking to my girlfriend about this, and she's like, hold on. So you're going to cross, so the course is going to do like, you know, 1 million in sales this month in half a year, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And so, because last year, and it's only
a million in 6 months, where you were talking about celebrating your first month doing 25,000, and now in this year, by this month, end of this month, you're gonna hit 1 million, which is astronomical. Like, people can't believe that.
It's crazy. And
did you see that happening?
No. So like, I mean,
like, was when people talk about vision and setting your goals,
not now.
and
I was like,
setting your
oh,
metrics, because you're all about metrics.
Yes.
So like, did you see yourself making 1 million in 6 months?
No. When at the beginning of this year, the goal was 500,000.
Okay.
Even though last year I made the course itself, my business made 130K, but the course itself I made like 80 something K in the whole year.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, we got it. We're gonna do these webinars, and I was like, okay, 2018 it's gonna be 500,000, right? That was my goal. And then I was like, or 1 million could be my like private, I'm gonna say this quietly to myself, you know, reach goal. And then February hit, and I was like, oh wow, we just did, because that's when I did my first like 6-figure launch. Because all I did was I buckled down and I 10x'd my Facebook spend. So I just like 10x'd what I was doing more of. And I did my first 6-figure launch. So I was like, okay, I think we could do 1 million in the year. And then by March, I was like, we could do 1 million. We're doing 1 million by June. Screw that.
So, okay. Still ADD a little bit?
Actually, no.
Okay.
I'm like the queen of no now. Like, I'll be like, no.
You know how hard that is as a woman?
Not anymore.
Oh, well, okay, so
No, but I feel,
it's been my biggest challenge.
Yeah, no, totally. No,
I
I'm
have
just kidding.
personally, like New Year's goals was like, okay, get comfortable with the word no.
Oh.
Super hard for me.
Yeah, where did that come from? Like, why was that a goal? Why was that like so important?
Because I felt myself always overextending and trying to, it wasn't trying to please everyone, but I am by nature, like, if I can help, I will. It could be anything. It could be like, can you give me a ride? Can you introduce me to this person? Can you send an email? Da, da, da. And it's like, if I am capable of helping, my nature is to. And it's really hard for me to say no, because I already have a full day, or I already am exhausted and haven't slept. And so that was like a personal thing for me. And I don't know where that comes from, but it's been a great learning experience of trying to embrace the word no. So, I mean, with you though, okay, how many hours a day do you spend on your business, let's say?
So that's the crazy thing that I was talking to my friend about, where I was like, I just hired, as you know, my first 2 people, and I just had someone come on and help me with Facebook ads about a month ago. So up until then, it was me.
Yeah.
But
everything.
I had operationalized certain parts of the business where, you know, every Monday I do a new student orientation for so it's like an hour on Mondays, 2 hours on Tuesdays, 2 hours on Wednesday, and then 2 hours on Thursday. And then maybe an hour each day for like answering support questions, and et cetera, et cetera. So like half days basically running this business.
Because I was gonna say, okay, so half days, and then you're newly engaged, and I know you were like, I'm not gonna start planning the wedding, or you know, until we hit certain markers.
Yes.
So I'm like, how do you think you have work-life balance?
Yes, absolutely. And there was a time I didn't.
Yeah. Because how long have you and Caleb been together?
For 5 years.
5 years.
Mm-hmm. And he's a big reason. If I wasn't with him, I would not have any balance.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen me without him.
Yeah.
He definitely insists on like, okay, oop. He's like the cat that comes on your keyboard and he like throws it up. So that, and then making sure we're eating correctly, exercising, active, enjoying the moment. Like, he's naturally mindful, and just like acknowledging like, we have a great life. Like, we are really blessed, you know?
You work hard to enjoy it. That I don't understand. Like, people who work so hard and are so monetarily successful, but are not happy or don't enjoy their life. I'm like, why are you work too damn hard to not be happy?
Real.
Like, you work too hard to be stressed. You work too hard to not go on vacations. you work too hard not to see your family. Like, why are you making all this money?
Yes.
Like, you can't sell your soul for $1. Like,
yes. And actually,
I think
I'm curious. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain are examples, sadly, but like tragic, because they were so incredibly successful.
Yes.
And yet there was a lack of happiness in their lives. You know, who knows what their personal reasons were, but like, you work too hard for like a check. Like, it's not about the check.
For real, it's not. And it's interesting. I think in my industry too, there's a lot of emphasis. Well, in most industries, a lot of emphasis on monetary stuff. But for me, it's been so crazy because I see that direct correlation between, okay, the more I'm making is the more lives I'm impacting. Like the fact that most of the people in my program are like Black women and men actually now, and people, and it's diversifying as we go along because we're getting larger and larger. But the fact that these are people who do everything from, like, they have one person in there who owns a pole dance studio, and she teaches other people who are opening their own dance studios how to open successfully. You know, somebody who's a registered nurse, like these two women, Janelle and Ashley, who are amazing, traveling RNs, and they teach new nurses how to transition and be confident, how to serve the clients well, all that. Like, it runs the gamut, and the fact that, like, I can wave it away. And I can show them how to translate their expertise, and then they're now going to teach their community and become bigger and bigger. The ripple effect is crazy. Kind of like in your business, right? You open this establishment that enables all these connections to be made, right? And then you have all these people coming in every night, and you're enabling
Are you worldwide
all these connections
right now?
Yes, mostly
because
US.
I know you said that your two new hires, neither one of them live in the same state as you.
No.
Like, the beauty of the internet, right?
Totally.
So, like, I'm just curious how far you're reaching. Are you, like, in the UK and Australia? That's so
I do.
cool.
I don't think I have anyone in Australia, but Finland, UK.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I know, it's cool. Yeah.
So now that you hit 1 million and you weren't projecting for that target. So now what? Like, now that it's broken your barrier, like, can you see a bigger vision? Like, what are you focused on now, or what's your bigger goal?
Totally. So it's crazy because now that I've gotten here, and because working with one of my mentors in particular, you know, he's going to do, working with him, he also talks about the larger vision, right? Yeah. And how he wants to change the face of education worldwide. He's like, that's what we're after, right? But he has it's an online course, right? An online program. Oh, there we go.
Nature.
And so that was really inspiring because I'm like, I mean, that's really why I got into it. But you're like, okay, in order to grow, we got to have this spreadsheet. We got to grow 20% month over month. And it's actually given me the freedom to step back and say, yo, the reason I'm here is because I really believe in the concept of, like, being a culture ad, right? Instead of being a culture fit. Oh yeah, fitting in. Oh, we have the same values. We listen to the same music, whatever. No, it's about being a culture ad. And the currency today is diversity, right? Mm-hmm. Diversity is currency. Yeah. The more diverse your thought, your experiences, that means when I have this problem that I've been looking at trying to solve for a year, you can come in and be like, oh, try this, put some salt on it, because, like, you've had this unique experience, right? And so I want to show more, like, that's my purpose, is, like, when I think about it, I'm like, okay, I want to create a world where my future kids, little brown kids on the playground, are going to be running around, and the adults around them are going to be encouraging them to be as much as they can be, as weird as they want to be. If they want to wear pants or a skirt or be Frankenstein, whatever it is, that's what my mom did for me. All the girls were like Jasmine for Halloween, and I wanted to be Frankenstein, and she's like, okay, let me paint your face green. You know, I was out the only girl playing basketball with all the boys, and I got all the other girls to come play. Like, all that stuff, she let me be the tomboy, or, like, be passionate about whatever I want to be passionate about. And so that's the world I want to help create. And I know that starts through my program, you know, through getting people to realize you are a culture ad. I'll show you how to package it, show you how to teach and reach other people with it. That's how it starts, right? Because my future kids, leaders, the people they look up to, the people they're instructed by, I'm going to touch in some way. The people I touch are going to touch them in some way. So, like, that vision has now come back into the fold now that I'm not worried about meeting the goal, or, like, do I have enough to survive? Like, it's taken me from the scarcity mindset to the abundance mindset. Instead of being afraid of what I could lose, looking forward to what we can gain. So that's been a big shift. So now it's like that vision, and then being able to onboard a team. So that's the second tangible thing, is taking it outside of myself. Like, being like, okay, I'm going to bring on 2 people, operationalize it. And the more I can remove myself from my business, the closer to success I'm getting.
What do you think? So, you know, people want all the glory, but they're not willing to put in the grind. So, and that's like,
is that a quotable?
That's what I
it's
say.
a Grace Lee quotable.
Yeah,
There you go.
That's what I say. People want the glory, they don't want the grind. Like, people want to be famous.
Yep.
People want to be on Instagram with however many followers, and you know, but they don't want to put in the hard work. So, being young, being a woman, being a minority, and the journey of entrepreneurship is already so hard. What do you think has been the most difficult thing that you've overcome, or the hardest lesson that you've had? Because I say this about entrepreneurship: the highest highs and the lowest lows are so lonely. So even with
even the highest highs, you're so right.
Yeah,
you're so right.
The highest. So I'll tell you my thing, and that's why Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain and what happened recently. I'm like, you know, no one. Loneliness and depression, it's a very personal thing, right? Just like religion and anything else that you believe in faith, it's what you believe in, and there's no influence from the outside, whether it's your family, your friends, your upbringing, that can move that needle much. And so for me, my highest highs in entrepreneurship, like our best days, or like that moment when you like just got the lease to the new space, or like, you know, all that stuff. The joy and satisfaction you have in your heart that's like exploding from that reward that you get as like, you know, a measure marker. Whether you're married, whether you're engaged, whether you have great friends and family and like all your staff and support, it's still just you. Like, no one really gets as much gratification from that as you do. And the lowest lows. Like, you know, the 5 a.m. calls, you can't sleep, you're exhausted, you're this, you're that, you work yourself till you're sick. Like, no one is going to put in as much as you and have that same like language, right? They're not as fluent in like your struggle. And then even when you win, it's like, oh, this is great. Yeah. But you know what? I had to make every call. I had to make every executive decision to get there. So I say that, and I'm just curious, in your, now people are looking like, oh my gosh, she's great, she's so successful, I want to pay for her class, and I want to do what she did, and no one else can replicate it. But aside from all the success, what do you think has been the hardest thing that you've learned or had to overcome or go through?
Yes.
Because you are, I think the beautiful thing about you that I really loved from the day we met was your humility and your modesty. No, because I mean, on your level of success, and especially to happen so quickly, to scale at that rate, a lot of people don't know how to handle that, or they get kind of caught up in their, even if it's business ego, it's like they have this ego, you know, like, ugh, you know, I am now the masterclass queen. So, you know, it's just, I think that that's a beautiful quality about you that people really obviously gravitate to.
Thanks.
So
I have the same thing to say about you.
oh gosh, no. I see hot dogs. Like, are you kidding me? I'm that chick.
See, exactly.
I'm that chick.
See, your response.
Like, I will
is a
forever be
perfect
the hot dog
example.
girl. Yes.
Right. Oh my gosh.
So what has been the hardest thing?
Let me see. Well, for me, it was that I was born an individual contributor, and so in my mind I was like, I have to do everything. And it's crazy because, we just saw Danticia, and we're talking about Landmark and how I took that last year. One of the big takeaways for me was that I thought that me relying, so growing up I relied on myself for all my successes and failures.
You an only child?
I act like one, but no, technically I have a younger sister, so she's 7 years younger. But I feel like, I did
Firstborn,
behave.
and
and I totally behaved like an only child, and definitely lone wolf, and like just self-absorbed, you know, because my mom was always like, no, just like focus on your grades, don't help me in the kitchen, like do whatever you need to do to be successful. And so what I realized is, okay, I always looked at the fact that I'm like, no, I'm not going to blame anyone for my success or my failure, but for my failures. Like if I mess something up, it's on me, right? I'm like, it's on me, exactly. And I knew that whatever I needed to get done, like I would have to make it happen. And so I always thought that was a strength, though. That, oh no, like I don't, it's okay, like you don't need to give me a hand, I got this, I'm gonna make this happen. When I realized, no, like you are the biggest bottleneck in your life. How are you gonna fulfill this bigger vision of helping your little future brown kids running around if like you are the only one. You have to touch everything. You have to touch everyone yourself to make it happen. You're not gonna reach anybody beyond like this circle. So that was the biggest lesson I had to learn, because it was a total mindset shift.
And you know that takes a lot of trust.
What do you mean?
When you get to the light bulb moment that you realize I can only grow to this maximum by myself. So when I bring on a team, I can grow bigger. So when you have that, when you accept that, and then you start to trust someone with your baby, to grow, because you know you can grow even larger with more people, more man hours, all of that stuff. But it's such a delicate trust. And I had that problem when I opened my business. I was like, man, like the first year I was the only person with the key, like opening clients. Yeah,
that is insane. Oh my god!
It was business ego, right? So just like you're talking about the independence, like I'm gonna mop the floors, I'm gonna do the dishes, I'm gonna figure everything out. Let me do it. It was also like I realized there's a blurry line between that being so independent and there's like trust issues. Whether it's like I don't trust someone with my business because this is all my savings. This is my baby. This is my bread and butter. If I'm gonna pay rent, and I can't allow someone else to mess that up. But I also realize I can't do this by myself. Like I have to trust somebody.
Totally.
And it takes trial and error to find the right people, but you can only do so. There's only so many hours in a day.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I always thought, I can't, I have to do this all myself because, I'm a perfectionist, like it needs to be perfect. And, I'm just really proficient at what I'm doing. Like that was my scapegoat theory for like why I couldn't bring someone on. And I brought that to my mentor and I was like, nah, look, this is the situation. He was like, there's a scarcity mindset and there's an abundance mindset. And so you're focused on what you could lose, right? Because I was like, listen, a virtual assistant I hired, she sent the wrong link in the email. We lost tens of thousands of dollars in a day, And I'm like, look, and he was like, you're focused on what you could lose instead of what you can gain. If you could train her properly, if you could onboard her properly, imagine what you could gain by having someone who's properly trained help you handle your business, right? So for me, I had to learn like, okay, I'm thinking too small.
Yeah,
it was a shift that happened.
So at the summit, you were talking about you and Caleb want to move abroad.
Yeah.
Raise your brown babies in different countries.
Yeah.
Like, where is that coming from? Have either one of you ever lived abroad?
Girl, no. I mean, I haven't even lived outside of California except for 3 months in Harlem. So, no. And I always say it with like a caveat. I'm like, that's what we think we want to do. I'm like, that's a theory. We'll see when we actually get there if we're like, oh yeah, this is life, or if we're like, nope, we're going back to the States. But yeah, I don't know. I think we both are just like optimists. We love new possibilities, sense of adventure. Like, why not? So I don't even know where it came from, but it's interesting because we both had that will and that desire before we met each other. So it's not like,
how many babies are we gonna have?
2.
Two?
If you ask him, he might say something different, but I think just 2.
Just 2.
Why? Why'd you say 2? What are you trying to do?
Well, I'm just curious. I mean, you guys would make beautiful babies. Why not have as many as you can?
Oh, really? Okay.
Auntie
Grace.
No
I was saying Auntie Grace going to babysit everybody. And giving and delivering them too, by the way.
Right. There's a lot of medical advancement these days.
What about you?
It's so crazy because I think I've made a lot of choices. So, Caleb and I, when we first met, we like talking about the whole culture thing. Yeah. And he's from Trinidad, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of, I think, having your family or like having your parents be immigrants, and there's a certain way that you're raised. So my parents were like, okay, no boys can come to the house. You can't go to prom.
Oh.
You can't date till you're 30.
Oh.
And then when I turned 30, they're like, okay, where's your husband? I was like, ma'am. How do you tell me my
when
entire
we're not supposed
life?
to meet this person?
Oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing.
Well, at least they didn't have something for you. They were like, Grace.
Oh no, they've tried.
They did. Okay,
Oh
they
my
did that.
gosh,
Okay.
they've tried. Like my mom secretly will catfish people on internet dating sites for my brother, not for me, for my brother, and then like tell him.
Are you serious? Wait, she will be on the site acting like somebody.
she told my brother, like, send me a picture of you. And he's thinking, you know, oh, she wants, you
like
know, she
share
wants
with
to frame
a
it.
friend
Yeah.
or like
No,
whatever.
she put it online and was like, oh,
my
meet this girl at the coffee shop. And
Are
he's thinking
you
like it's a family
serious?
friend. Yeah, and then he shows up and she's like, oh yeah, wait, hold on, you didn't know you were on a dating website? He's like,
No way.
Yes.
Which dating website?
I don't know.
Aw.
It's just scandalous.
It is. I was hoping
The
to get more
trickery.
scandalous
No,
with
she-
the dating
so,
website.
Let me tell you. So the funny thing is, and any, I think, you know, immigrant family or people will understand, but even it's more humorous with Asians. But like, so they don't care if I ever get married. They just want me to have babies. However,
interesting. Okay.
my brother, they want him to get married. So I don't know what that's about, like gender.
Have you asked them?
No, because you know,
Oh, okay.
my parents are the funniest people alive. Like they're a riot. But no, it's you know, in my career and the choices I've made, I have zero regrets. But I definitely think that my ambition has sometimes taken me to places that sacrifice a certain quality of life. And I don't regret that because I think I'm in a much better place now and I've earned it.
Yes.
But, you know, I have no family. I'm not married. You know what I mean? That's like, but it's like I feel like I am where I'm supposed to be.
Because
So
you are.
yeah, it's just it's one of those things. And then you know there's a lot of society pressure on whether it is like as a woman, you need to do this and this to be successful, and like you said, not to conform. You want to keep your independence, and then just as much, I think a lot of my friends who married young or who had kids young, you know, the grass is always greener on the other side, and they're like, oh, look at you, you're living your life, you're traveling.
Yep.
It's like, yeah. But for 6 years, I missed like every holiday, every birthday. You know what I mean? Like, there's a give and take, and there's always a negotiation. I think even within myself now, like this year, I've canceled a lot of trips that were, I will admit, purely for fun, because I'm trying to be more purposeful with my time.
I like it.
So,
I like it.
you know, what we were talking about with your friend earlier, it's like passion or purpose. You know, whether your passion is yoga, whether your passion is wine, whether your passion is food, whatever it is, spend your time wisely and what makes you happy. Right?
Yes.
And feed that.
That's good. So it seems like you have more of a balance than before.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I had I would like work so much and work every day where like I'd see the sun come up and not want to go to sleep. I wouldn't want to go home, and my staff was like, "You're crazy." Hindsight's 20/20, so now I realized there were things that I just didn't want to. I didn't want to live like life, because work is a great excuse.
Oh, interesting.
If you say I can't make it to a wedding because I'm working, or I can't do this vacation because I got to work, no one's ever gonna fault you for that.
True.
But it's also a terrible excuse to not live your life. So it's tricky.
Wow. So you're living your life now.
I'm
And what does
trying
that
my
look
best.
like? Because one thing that's interesting is when you transition. So you spent, like you said, 6 years. You opened these places. They were a success. You're like grinding. Only had the key for yourself for the first year, being crazy. Yeah, you did all of that, right? And then you sell them.
Yeah.
And then now you're investing in other places. And so obviously now you have a lot more freedom,
Yeah.
more time, maybe more financial resources as well, or more like liquid cash. Who knows? And I'm always curious, like, well, what does that transition look like? Like, how does that manifest in your everyday life? Like, has your quality of life improved? Are you like, you know, buying the like brand horses or like
No.
cars? Like, I'm curious, like, how does that manifest in your life?
For me personally, so I've never been a material person.
Okay.
So my biggest splurge is travel.
Okay.
I'm not into like the shoes, the purses. I like nice things, but that's not my go-to.
Right.
It's not my reward. It's not my gratification.
Yes.
So I think now I just feel like, you know, peace of mind is a luxury. And there's a lot of people that work really, really hard, and you can't buy that. There's no price tag on it. So I think that all the years that I feel like I've earned how I live now, my biggest luxury and reward is peace of mind. To be able to go to sleep, to be able to wake up and spend the day how I want to, responsibly, to be able to see like my friends and my family and spend quality time with them. So I have 2 beautiful god kids from my best friend, and I probably would have never had the opportunity to like, oh, I'm gonna come see you in Savannah on Wednesday for 2 nights. You know,
That's
like
so nice.
the luxury to do that.
Yes.
that is most meaningful to me, and to be able to do stuff like this. Like,
Yeah.
it's a Monday, and we're sitting here
girl, what?
talking, drinking.
Your wine.
Yeah, like,
yes.
people can't do that.
I know.
Whether how successful they are,
Yep.
or, you know, they're like building and building to get there. To me, even this conversation is a luxury.
Yeah.
So I feel like those are the nuggets throughout the day that I really cherish and really, really enjoy. And if I can do it with the people that I have intentions to like exchange that with, I can't complain at all. It's a
I love
blessing.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the
Yeah,
time.
thank you for having me.
I can't wait to see. So what's your next goal? What?
5 million by December.
Ooh,
Girl.
you got
Why
that.
not? Why not?
And then I'll meet you on some crazy island somewhere. Be like, hey, Bora Bora on Tuesday.
August
I'll be
14th.
like,
Come on, girl.
I'm
Let's
gonna
go.
send you a jet. We're gonna take all the Atlanta people and take over this island like Richard Branson.
We're gonna do it.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.